Hey everyone, today I'm here with the Propel Zipp Nano and I am getting ready to do an outside flight. You guys make sure to check out the unboxing and basic review and indoor flight that I have on this little quadcopter. I picked up this quadcopter at Costco and so far it's been alright. It's been a little beginner quadcopter. It's actually fairly easy to get used to. I want to make this video because I think some people just need a little bit of help learning how to actually fly a quadcopter. So I wanted to include that in this video. So I will show what each button does and how just basic flying and how you can improve your flying. So here is the remote. This remote works on, it's called Mode 2. I'm going to take these little things off for now so it'll fit better in the screen. But this little remote here just works on Mode 2. So all that means is that with this left stick, you're going to be able to go up and down, okay? So that is called the throttle, is what makes the quadcopter go up and down, okay? Then you're also going to be able to, with this left stick, do yaw movement. Yaw is the quadcopter rotating on its axis, okay? So if you go left, the quadcopter is going to go left. If you go right, the quadcopter is going to go right. So the left stick on Mode 2, which is what most quadcopters operate on, is going to have the throttle, which makes the quadcopter go up and down, and has the yaw on the left stick, which makes the quadcopter rotate on its axis. Okay? On the right stick, you have two movements. It's called the pitch, which is the forward and back movement, and the roll, which is the right and left movement. So with pitch, the quadcopter is going to lean forward. If you pitch it backwards, the quadcopter is going to lean back. If you roll to the right, the quadcopter is going to roll. I have it this way. Quadcopter is going to roll to the right. If you roll to the left, the quadcopter is going to roll to the left. Okay? So those are the four basic movements that every quadcopter is going to have. Okay, so it's basically your throttle or elevator. You'll hear it being called elevator as well. Then you have your yaw, and you have your pitch, forward and backward, and your roll, right or left. And that is basically how you fly a quadcopter, by using those movements. Now, for a beginner, you know, this quadcopter is intended for a beginner. You're going to have, all those movements are going to be reduced to being very, very slow. So your yaw is going to be very slow, like this, okay? If you have faster yaw, you can be more acrobatic, okay? Also, all these quadcopters here, all these little starter quads, most of the ones that I have flown fly on a gyroscope. It's called a 6G. And basically what that means is that it stabilizes the quadcopter. So you don't have to, so you can't go over, you know, the roll will only give you this much, but it won't go all the way. Okay, if you have more advanced settings on other quadcopters, racing quadcopters, you can actually have more leeway on what you do as far as your roll, your pitch, and your yaw. Most of these little quadcopters here, like this Propel Zipp Nano, have rates. So the rates, all it means is it gives you a little bit more, a better angle on your pitch, your roll. Some quadcopters like this one, you can also change the yaw to make the yaw a little bit faster. So instead of just rotating like that, it'll rotate a little bit faster on its axis. So that is the basics, okay? So those rates are meant to give you maybe a little more speed, all right? Most of these little quadcopters, again, have the ability to do automatic flips. So what you do is they give you a little button. This one's called a stunt button. Others call it the flip button, you know, or whatever. And if you press that button and you move your right stick in any direction, you give a pitch or roll, and it's gonna flip, and the little quadcopter is gonna flip, and that's it. And there's nothing much else to it. Okay, So that is it. That is as much as you can do with this particular quadcopter, and with most toy grade quadcopters. They are coming out with new modes and new features that are. There's been one on the market in the last few years. It's called headless mode, and I have done some videos on that. I will explain it again in further videos. It's fun. It's a fun thing that you can play around with. They also have a one key return, which makes your quadcopter return back to you. They have automatic takeoff and landing, like we've seen on some of the other quadcopters I have reviewed, the MJX X102H. And then you have more advanced features on aerial videography quadcopters that include GPS, and then you have on racing quadcopters, you have the ability to have FPV, which stands for first person view. Another thing, for those of you wondering, what is RTF? I've been asked that question. RTF means ready to fly, and that's what this quadcopter is. It is ready to fly. That means that you don't have to do anything else to it besides take it out of the box, put your batteries in your transmitter, charge the quadcopter, and you're ready to go. So you have everything you need. Normally when you buy the components, the motors, you buy the other components and put them together, the board and other things, you normally have to buy a transmitter separately and just kind of make it all fit together. So that is not RTF. That is not ready to fly. Okay, now there's also some quadcopters that you can buy the quadcopter and then bind it to your transmitter if you have a nice transmitter. Those are called BNF. That's bind and fly. This quadcopter is okay. I particularly, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I don't like little quadcopters like this for beginner pilots, because I think it is more complicated. It's cool, it's kind of cool looking and all that. You may be able to fly it indoors, but it's a little more complicated. I will show you some sizes of quadcopters that I like better for beginners, that I think are better, and I'll tell you where to buy them, and I'll leave the links in the description if you are interested in looking at those. So let's fly this little quadcopter first and go through the rates and go through the different movements, and then we'll look at some other quads. There is a little bit of wind, and I apologize for that because there may be a little bit of noise, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a quadcopter. You always want to just, for this one and for most little toy quadcopters, you turn on the quadcopter first. Now, most of the larger GPS, Phantoms, Unique, Inspire, bigger quadcopters, you turn on the transmitter first. For this one, you can just turn the quadcopter on first. So this one has a little on and off switch. I'm going to turn on, and now I'm going to get ready to bind it. So the copter is on. I'm going to turn on the transmitter, okay, and then I'm going to go up and down on the throttle, and that is going to bind the quadcopter. A lot of times the light blinks right when you bind it, and it's ready. So you can see there that the propellers are now moving when I go up on the throttle. Okay, for safety reasons, when you're flying and you are about to hit something, you don't want to hit it, you just go down on your throttle, kill your throttle, and that'll prevent you from causing anybody any damage or anything. That's what I always do. If I feel like I'm in trouble, I just kill the throttle and the quadcopter drops. Alright guys, so once the quadcopter is bound, what you want to do is you just want to give it a little bit of throttle and get it up in the air, and just control your pitch, your forward pitch, your back pitch, and your roll side to side, okay, and try to keep it, kind of hovering close to you. There's a good little bit of wind. Now this is another thing. This quadcopter, particularly this one, comes with a very small remote. Small remotes make it easier for a child, someone with very small hands, but if you have regular man-sized hands, it is a little bit harder, okay? So be aware of that. If you go to buy a quadcopter, the size of the remote does matter. Just because it's small and cool looking doesn't mean it's better, okay? So let me get it up. I'm gonna try not to yaw. I'm just trying to use the roll. Okay, so I'm rolling and I'm just trying to control it. I'm just trying to keep it there in place. Okay, trying to control it. Okay, now the wind is really catching it, so I'm having to give it a lot of forward and side input, but I'm not yawing. I'm not using the yaw, which means my left stick, I'm not turning my left stick to the sides. So you see how it's just, I'm trying to keep it there, trying to control it, and that's what you want to start out doing. You want to try to just control a hover, you know, where you can get it like that. That's perfect, because if you can get it hovering, then you're in business. These little quads here, they use small LiPo batteries. They use this one in particular uses a 1S battery. 1S, what that means is that it uses a 3.7 volt battery. You can increase or decrease the milliamp hours. Okay, so this battery in here is 3.7 volt, but it may be, I don't know, 500 milliamp hour battery, or it may be a 600 milliamp hour battery. And then you have 1S, which, you know, is small. Then you have 2S, which is a 2S battery is pretty much two 3.7 batteries put together. Then you have the 3S and 4S. 4S is as high as it goes, and so it's just higher voltage. One thing to keep in mind: there's quadcopters that you can actually switch out the battery, and you always want to keep the voltage the same. You can go up and down on your milliamp hour. You know, more milliamp hour batteries equals more flying time for the most part. And you can, as long as you keep the voltage the same, you can go up and down on your milliamp hour. And there's also another component called discharge capacity, which basically all it means is it just gives you more punch, and you use that for racing and for just faster quadcopters. So once you get good with hovering and with maintaining control, you can actually start using your yaw. And for using your yaw, I just advise practicing doing just small turns. Try to keep them small. The more accurate that you can be, obviously, the better it is. The more precise you're going to become. So, and these, you know, quadcopters, they don't require a lot of crazy input. If you can, the more gentle you are with the remotes, the better your flying is going to be. If you're doing aerial videography, the more gentle you are with the remote, the better the video is going to be. So this little quadcopter here doesn't do very well with the wind. You saw there that it kind of dropped, the wind kind of took it, and I tried to get it up, and then it just kind of rolled. So that is this little Propel Zipp Nano. It's an okay starting quad, okay, but it's not the best. It's not the best because it's small. It's very small. You can't take it out and fly with a little bit of wind, because that's what'll happen all the time, and you're gonna get frustrated. You can fly it in your house, but it's gonna be hard to learn to this. So it is a cool little quad. I would recommend it for anybody. It's a cheap quad. I bought it at Costco. I think with tax it was $27. So it's not gonna break your pockets or anything, and fun if you want to try something out. But I'm gonna show you now more of what I would recommend for a starter pilot. I have a different sampling of quadcopters here. So basically, this is the size of the Propel Zipp Nano. It's a small little quadcopter. I'm telling you guys how it can be a little more challenging to fly. Now, here are some other quadcopters that from left to right, they're a little more beginner inclined. Okay, so this is the SJ X300. This is a perfect beginner quadcopter because it is just, in comparison in size, look how much bigger it is. It also has brushed motors, which means these little motors here that all these little quadcopters have are called brushed motors. Bigger quadcopters that you have seen, you know, like the DJI Phantom and bigger aerial quadcopters, normally they have GPS. They have brushless motors, and they're different. They're more efficient motors. These little motors eventually burn up, but you know, they can last you a while. It's no big deal. So, but anyway, this here, the SJ X300, is a perfect starter quadcopter. It's a good size. You can do different rates. It has a good transmitter.
Okay, it's a quadcopter that I like, that I think is a good starter quadcopter. Okay, then now this you can find on websites like gearbest.com. Okay, they don't sell these in the US in stores, so that can also you know, throw you off. But I will leave the link in the description for this quadcopter. And also, you have, if you are in the US, you been to Target and you've been to Toys R Us and all that, they sell this line of quadcopter. It's called the Sky Viper quadcopter. This one in particular is the V950, and it comes with a camera, or it can also come with a first-person view, which is FPV. And this is also a decent starting quadcopter. You can take it out. It fights the wind pretty well. It is a little more advanced. It's definitely more advanced than the SJ. The SJ has better yaw, which is that movement, that one axis movement. But this little Sky Viper is a pretty decent quadcopter too. It's a little more advanced, so it can get a little bit quicker. To me, it's not as easy to fly as the SJ, but you know, it's okay. Once you feel comfortable with flying something like this and something like that, then you have like your more sporty quadcopters with brush motors. This is probably one of my favorite sporty quadcopters with brushed motors. This quadcopter has the kind of transmitter that is going to allow you to do better flying. It has a bigger transmitter, and it's smooth, and it has sticks that are a little bit longer, so it makes it easier to fly the quadcopter. This quadcopter is going to have a faster yaw. It's going to have a faster pitch, but it's pretty much, besides that, it does the same thing that the other ones do. So this is something that you can get once you get comfortable with something like the SJ. So and you're gonna enjoy it a ton. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So you saw how much trouble I was having fighting the wind with the little Propel Zipp Nano. Well, with this little bigger one, it's gonna be a lot easier to fight the wind. So I'm gonna turn it on here. It has LEDs. All of them have LEDs that flash and all. And I'm gonna turn the power button on here. This one has also rates, which increase the speed as you go through the rates, through the different rates. You know, some call it speeds, most of them call it rates. And you see there that the propellers are moving. I went up and down just to bind it, so it's bound. So the quadcopter and the remote are bound. And now I'm going to move it up to a faster rate. So it starts out on speed 1, or rate 1, and I can move it up, and I'm going to move it up all the way. So it's now as fast as it can go. But let me just show you, once you get more advanced, this little quadcopter is a lot of fun. It can actually fight the wind pretty well. And I'm gonna let it zoom here over me, just so you can see. So you can have a lot of fun with this little quad, and it can take a beating. I'm not gonna purposefully wreck it, but it can. I've wrecked it plenty. And it does very well. You know, it doesn't have a problem. You know, you can be fairly accurate with this little quad. Keep it close to you. Now, let me take it on the more of a starter. Let me take it on more of a starter setting. So let's take it down to the like the second speed. This one has actually 5 speeds, so it's pretty cool. All right, so that's on the second speed. So what I'm going to try to do now is what I did with the other one. I'm going to try to let it hover and just kind of keep it in place without using yaw, so without using this movement. Okay, so let's take it up slowly and just kind of let it hover. And this is what I think a beginner should aim to do. Just go forward, be able to come back, and try to keep the altitude. Try to keep an altitude. And when you get good with that, and you get good with moving around side to side, then you can start introducing a little bit of yaw. And what that's going to look like is, once you start putting a little bit of yaw into it, you're going to start seeing the quadcopter rotate like that. Okay, you see it there? So it's gonna, let's see again, let's look at that again. So let's see, a little bit of yaw, it's gonna make the quadcopter go like that. It's gonna rotate on its axis. So alright, so let me just yaw around a little bit. So I'm using the yaw and by going forward with the right stick, and by going sideways here with the yaw, I get to do some smooth turns, and that's what you want. You want to be able to do some turning like that. So you're basically using, once you get a little better, you're using a combination of your pitch. You're using a combination of pitch. Let's see here. Once you get a little better, you're using a combination of the pitch here with the right stick and the yawing a little bit, just moving it slightly to the left or to the right as you give it a little bit of roll and pitch. You give it a combination of all the inputs, and the quadcopter, is gonna do this, is gonna turn like that. Instead of just going like this or going like that or going like this or coming like this, it's gonna start, making swift turns. So that right there, this right here is a good starting quadcopter. So anyway, guys, I didn't intend to make this video that long, but I just wanted to go over that. So if you are at Costco and you pick up a Zipp Nano, a Propel Zipp Nano, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like it, and if you are interested in buying another quadcopter, if you have a certain interest in a quadcopter, that I have flown, just you can ask me, or you can ask me what I think, and I will let you know my honest opinion. I'm not gonna just tell you whatever. I mean, if I don't like it, I don't like it, but I have seen plenty of people starting to fly, and I have noticed certain trends with quadcopters that are better for beginners and quadcopters that are not, so that are harder to fly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.